Hi, my name's Jack and I'm a web developer and a church elder. A few years ago I built a tool for churches called Church Service Planner, and I want to thank you for making use of that tool in creating and sharing online service plans with your church family. Well, a few years have passed and I'm back with a new project aimed specifically at helping support busy church leaders. It's called Hello Church, and it's packed full of useful tools which will help you stay organised, manage those everyday tasks and communicate effectively. Let me show you how it works. Once you've been through the registration process, you'll be able to sign into your Hello Church dashboard, and here you'll find easy access to all the tools within Hello Church. The first area that you'll want to go to when you're a newly registered user is Settings, and here you can add all kinds of information that will help Hello Church operate in a way that really suits you and your church. So the first section that you might want to look in is Church, and here you can add your church name, address, telephone number, email and website. Next on the list is Roles, and this is for defining roles that would be used within organising an event or a meeting, for example, like leader or preacher. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a role and call it leader. I can define the role as either something that an individual does, or it can be a family role. So you might have welcoming or tea and coffee as a kind of family-based role that a family will do together. But in this instance, I'm going to set it as individual, and I'm also going to set it as an exclusive role. So someone assigned to this role can't be assigned anything else within the same event. So I'll save that. And then the next option within settings is venues, and here you can create venues that you'll use to assign events into, so places that you host meetings or events. So I'm going to go ahead and add church hall as a venue. Next up you've got families, and here you can define your family groups that you'll assign your contacts into. So I'm going to create a family for me, for my family. So I'm going to put the name Barbara in, that's our surname. But you can create family groups around any kind of grouping you want, so they don't necessarily need to be all a single generation. You could have multi-generational families or different kinds of groupings depending on what works for you. Next up we've got speakers, and this is where you'll define the speakers for your sermon archive, for your podcasts. So again, you just want to go ahead and put the names in of people who regularly speak at your church. And you can do the same for series, and this is where you'll define your series, so your sermon groupings, as it were, so on a particular theme or a particular topic. Below that we've got podcast, so you can put in a podcast name, whatever's suitable for your church or your organisation, as well as a description. You can upload an image, and these will all be used when you're publishing your audio to YouTube. And after that we've got administrators. If you want to know more about that, have a look at the specific video on how administrators work. So once you've gone through and set up all the settings for your church, you can then go ahead and start adding information into the main tools, so contacts, groups, communication and so on. So I'm going to look in contacts first, and I've already added myself here, but I could go ahead and add someone else. So I'm going to click on add a contact, and I'm going to add my wife Megan. So I can put in as many or as few details as I like for a contact, as well as setting communication preferences and adding the contact into a family group. And then I'll go back and I'll then update my own record to add myself into the Barber family. And now on the right hand side here you can see against my profile that it adds family members, and whoever else is included in the Barber family would be visible there, so it's easy to swap from one family member to another. So you can go ahead and add in contacts, as many as you like, for your church family. Next we've got groups, and you can define groups to support the various structures that you might have within your church. So I'm going to put a group in for leaders and save. I'm going to go back into groups and view the group, and now I'm going to add a member, and I just search by name and I'm going to add myself into the leaders group. I'm going to go back into groups and add another group for musicians, and I'm going to repeat the process for Megan and add her into the musicians group. So you can see it's quite easy to get started creating groups that support your physical structures and organisations, organisational groups within your church, and then adding contacts into the groups. I'm going to skip communication. We'll come back to that at the end. So the next section I'm going to look at is calendar. Here's where you can manage events and meetings that might be taking place within your church. So you can click add an event and you can create an event. So I'm going to create an event for Sunday service. You can give it a description if you want, and then you can define the start and end time for your event. So I'm going to set it up for this coming Sunday 23rd, put the start and end time in, and I'm going to ask it to repeat weekly, so it will repeat every Sunday until a given date, and for that I'm going to put in the end of the year, so December the 28th. And then I'm going to add in a role, so I can click in the roles box and it gives me options based on what I'd added in the settings. So I'm going to add leader, and I'm also going to add a venue, put it in the church hall, and I'm going to say yes to publishing this on the calendar feed. So save the event, and now I can go to the calendar and I can see the event listed there on the calendar, 10:30 on Sunday the 23rd. And when I click into that event, it then gives me more information about the event. And on the right hand side, you can see the roles that you've assigned to the event. So we only assigned leader, and I'm going to add myself just as an example. So now I'm assigned as the leader against this Sunday service event. If we were to go back into settings and go into roles, we could add another role called musician and save that role. Go back into calendar, back into the Sunday service event, and then add musician as an additional role against the Sunday service. And you can see now musician appears on the right hand side, and I'm going to add Megan as the musician for this Sunday service. So you can see it's quite easy to create an event, assign people into their specific responsibilities. And then when you look at someone's contact profile, it will actually give you a list of their future responsibilities based on the roles that you've assigned them into. And you can then download their rota as a PDF and share it with them, or just email them the detail, whatever you want to do with that information. So you can go ahead and add in all the various meetings. You might have repeat events for Sunday services, for midweek Bible studies and so on. So it's quite useful, quite easy to get started with adding events. And then once you've added some events and you've created roles and assigned people into roles, you can then download rotas. So you can choose which role you want to download the rota for, and then click download rota PDF, and it will give you a PDF with the individual's name, the meeting or the event that they're assigned into that role for, and the date of the event. And again, you can share that very easily then with your church family. So the next section that you might want to look at is documents, and you can use this to store centrally any documents that are important for your church. So it could be church handbooks or information about your church membership, for example. You can upload Word documents, pictures, spreadsheets, PDFs, all that kind of stuff. And then they're stored centrally, and then you don't have to worry about whose computer they're stored on. Anyone who's got access to Hello Church will have access to the files. And once you've added files, you can also then use them within emails, or you can share a direct link to enable someone else to download that file directly, should you need to. And the final item on the list is audio, and this is where you can manage your audio recording, so your sermon archive. You can upload MP3 files into here. You can define a speaker and a series, a book of the Bible that it's from, and then you would save that into Hello Church, and that will then be published, could be published directly via YouTube, via an RSS feed. Again, if you want more details about the specifics of that, have a look at the particular video all about audio, how you manage audio files within Hello Church and publish them directly to YouTube. So the final section to look at is communication. So now we've added some extra information into Hello Church, it makes sense to come back here and create an email. So to create an email, you just define a subject and click create email, and then you'll see it then listed in your drafts, and then you can view to edit the content. And there's a kind of simple drag and drop content builder, so you can add different types of content. On the left hand side you can add headings, you could add some text, you can add images, files, event information. So I'm going to add an event, and I'm going to add this Sunday morning service, and when you do that, it automatically loads in the event name, the time and date, and the description if there was one. And then once you're happy with your email content, you can either send it to individuals or you can send it to groups, depending on who needs to see this information. So it becomes really quick once you've got all your events in, once you've got documents in. You don't need to be rewriting that content into your email. You just select the option from the drop-down lists and it automatically knows what information to include. You can send yourself a preview, so a test, to any email address before you send out the email to any members or groups within your church. So that's a useful way just to check that the content looks right, that any links you've included work correctly. So it's a really useful tool for being able to communicate effectively with your church family. So I'm going to click to send that to myself and then send email. And it tells me it's sent. And what I'm seeing now is a kind of archive view of the email. So it's got the content that was sent, but it also shows me who the recipients of that email were. And equally, if I go into contacts and then look at my profile, I can see that I was sent the test email at this time on this date, which is a useful way of keeping track of what information went to which church members or contacts. So you can be sure that meeting minutes, for example, went out to the right people at the right time. I've got lots more plans for different features and improvements to make, but I hope you can see the potential of using Hello Church, how it might help you stay organised and manage those everyday tasks. Sign up today for your 30-day free trial and discover the benefits of using Hello Church.